Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Sasquatch Secrets. I'm your host, Nikki Colon, and I am so happy you guys could be here. We've got a good show for you today. We got a lot to talk about. We're finally getting together to talk about the 2024 Sasquatch Shindig. So I am so happy everybody could be here. I'm going to take a look at the chat right now. It looks like people are just now starting to filter in, but we've got, looks like Sharon in the house first, and we have Sandra Piper. Good to see you, Sandra. Grasshopper, how you doing? And that's it. Is that all I'm looking at right now? Well, we'll get some people in here pretty soon, but I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and see if we can bring in those buckklaws, boys. See if we can get them in here. Let me go to a whole different place so I can bring, who shall we bring in first? Jerry, how are you doing?
That made me look fat.
Okay, I'll change it. I'll do something. I'll do
good.
Something
Glad
else.
to be here, Nikki.
Good. Let's bring somebody else. Thomas.
Hi, Nikki. Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Thomas.
Well, on time, right on time. Let's see. We've got another Buckwas boy back there. Hey, Bill. Good to see you.
How you doing, Nikki?
I'm
Hey.
good. How you doing?
Hey, Jerry, you notice Bill gets the cool music?
Yeah, I know. I mean, you get mandolin music. That's something. I just get a picture that makes me look fat. And then Bill, he's Bill. I don't know. I think there's stuff going on behind the scenes here.
Well, you could end up with music like this.
Oh, I want to believe.
Oh, hell, cardboard.
Such a good lead-in.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hola.
Okay,
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon. How you
Here's
doing, Jerry, Thomas, Bill? Hi, Nikki.
Hey, here's a new intro. And we got Trackway. Woo!
There he is.
Yeah, Trek the Pacific Northwest.
Nice.
Hey,
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Bill.
Good. One more. We got one more back there. Well,
We got room for one more.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. Hello. I don't have video of you.
Uh-oh.
Do I bring you on the way you are? Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just play his intro and
Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
That's awesome.
that was all fun. Hey,
Follow
Brent.
Schmiegel.
He probably ran out to do something, but he'll be back. So gentlemen, it's good to see you again. It's already, can you believe it's already been a couple weeks? So how time flies. We are fast approaching Trackway. You got all pixelated.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
Wi-Fi.
There you go.
Yeah, the entire month of July just went.
It did.
Yes, it
Oh,
did.
man.
It did.
Really, really did. And I mean, even the 10 days, I was there for 10 days. It just flew by. It really did fly by for me. And, but it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I have to say, it's one of the most beautiful countries ever I've been to. And I've been around in Mexico and China and Thailand and South Korea and um, it's just everywhere. Every place I looked was absolutely amazing, and I can totally understand how the pride you guys take in living up there in such a beautiful area.
Well, you know,
So
it's like everything else, Nikki. You get used to it and you become a little bit, jaded at the time. I mean, sometimes I go to Vancouver and I look at the North Shore Mountains while I'm driving across a bridge and I go, wow, were they always there? Kind of thing.
Yeah, but
yeah,
Nikki knows the flip side. BC stands for bring cash, and I
Mm.
think poor Nikki had a little bit of a culture shock there.
I was amazed when so when I flew into Calgary, okay, and I met up with Michael Gallagher, the Howler, and he asked, "Well, come with me and my girls, and we will trek across the Canadian Rockies and go to Harrison Hot Springs, and just take we kind of split it up." Like 6 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, and then the last 5 hours. So we made it a plan to stop in Kelowna or near Kelowna so that we could try and see Leon, which we did. And that was just so amazing. That little trip we took through the Rockies and seeing things that people I've heard Thomas and a bunch of you Bookwas boys talk about, these areas, the overpasses, the all these, amazing things. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to put us like this. And I'll put this was the right as we're getting to take off from Michael's house. I go, we have to start it out, with a picture leaving the house. And why are you not working now? Oh, I know why. Because it's pictures like this. Oh, wrong way. Sorry. Just amazing blue skies. And you guys seeing those okay?
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Okay.
front and center.
That's
Okay.
the Trans-Canada Highway before you get in the mountains, right? Just west of
Yeah.
Calgary.
Yeah. And just amazing. It was a beautiful, beautiful. There's one of your overpasses there, Thomas, being
Mhm.
constructed. A new one being constructed.
Wow, they
And
look
we
really cool.
They'll be covered in
saw
forest
some
when
of
they're done. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was just
I like
amazing.
that.
Well, the
Beautiful.
timing was good for you too,
Great.
Nikki, because I don't know if you realize, but half this province is on fire right now. And if you went through the city of Jasper, a fire last week ripped through there, and upwards of 50% of that town is now gone.
Oh man,
So,
that's sad.
Yes.
so I mean, your timing was perfect, and some of the sites that you saw on that, I mean, that road was shut down for a while, obviously because
Wow.
it goes through Jasper. So you may have seen some of the last views of it for a while.
Ugh.
Wow, boy, that happens fast.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, in fact, there was a couple days after he left, one of the areas that Brad had taken her on his tour actually had a small fire start up, and I think it was only lasted a couple days. But again, at this time of year, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we were trekking through there too. I was like, ooh, it's so easy to catch sparks, off that really dry grass. And we were full wheeling it for sure. But thank you, Sharon. still got a couple more videos, smaller videos now. The big ones are out. So I'm glad you enjoyed those. The Brad Trent excursion that I took, that was 4 hours, but I put it down into an hour. So you guys are just getting really the little taste of that whole day. We went.
You were with
down.
in the Humvee?
Yeah.
Was that was Brad Trent?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
yeah. And,
You got to experience Face Slap Alley.
Yeah.
yeah, because we were, it's quite going up the mountain, and his Humvee was overheating a little bit. Not a lot, but it was definitely overheating. He goes, I'm going to turn off the air conditioner and let's just put down, the windows. And that was fine. It was beautiful outside. So we put the windows down, and then we hit Face Slap Alley, and his sunroof popped open. And
oh, good Lord.
Brent altogether. So I don't know what's going on with him. Yeah, boom. Those branches were just whipping in until I got slapped, and I was like, okay, I got the slap. It's time to put the windows up. And at one point I had a green caterpillar on my neck. I had a beetle in my ear, and later on I saw this little spider coming off the bill of my cap. It was like coming down like this, and I was like, oh my God.
The itsy spider.
From the top of that moon little sunroof that he had open. And the bugs were getting
our vermin like to have friends.
Oh,
they like to make friends.
I couldn't believe he took that truck over through all that brush.
It was pretty thick. I mean, I didn't see a road. And Brad was like, "Yeah, there's a road there. I know the road's there, And
Brad's hardcore.
Yeah. He's not afraid to get it done, that's for sure.
No, he buys those vehicles for that reason, and he uses them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
he was very good at what he was doing, driving. He was a very, very hold on. Oops.
So you didn't have to white knuckle it?
I felt very secure. I felt like I was with my dad. I did. I felt like, I was in good hands. There was only that one part where the dip happens in Face Slap Alley, and we hit the like hard like that, and I was like, whoa, but he just popped up and over that, and I'm like, he knows what he's doing. I'm good. I'm in good hands,
Well, next weekend is a long weekend here in BC, and if you're into four-wheeling, there's and you can Google it, very famous trail called Whipsaw Trail, and it usually takes 2 to 3 days to people go through it. And he plans on doing his annual Whipsaw Trail next week. So, I mean, the when it comes to four wheeling, I mean, we joke about him, getting stuck all the time, but if you don't get stuck, then you've never gone out.
Yeah, right on.
That is very true. But no, I was very comfortable with him, and he kept telling me, and this is where I saw a lynx, and this is where we saw a sow and her cub, and this is where I'm like, I'm not seeing anything, let me just see one thing come across the road right now, because it was so perfect. The situation was so perfect. And I just kept thinking, oh my God, to be up here in the middle of the night would be creepy. I mean, that would have been you're really out there. And I thought, man, Brent would love it right here in this middle of nowhere, place to go and hike and just sit. You wouldn't even have to go anywhere. It feels like that is the spot, that is the place to be. And so it was amazing. Here's a few pictures of Leon and us at the beach.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah, he was great. I don't have a whole lot of video and stuff of him. He really didn't want that. And we had private conversations, you know, so it wasn't really something to share. You know how deep Leon gets.
Right on.
So, but yeah, it was great to see him and put arms around him. And he's a funny guy. He's definitely a funny guy. And we sat there. It was right here, right after this. I think right after this photo that Brent sent a message saying, I'm not coming. I broke down and you guys have a good time or something like that. I can't remember. I think it was right after.
Yeah.
And I was like so disappointed. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, I was supposed to head over there and pick him up.
You know, vehicle problems. And this was the next day, headed out from Lake Country. It was Lake Country, and right above Kelowna. And then, you know, we were stopping along the way. But just you know, I'm going to put some of these together. Oops, you don't want to see that. Okay, I think that's it. Let me get that up there. So let's see what happened next. Okay, so I also have video of us, you know, getting into the camp and finding our place. And we get there to the campsite, and the initial site, there were some people in there. Jerry happened to be across the way and was like, that's taken, you know, and he wanted to, I think he was like, he was mad. I think he was mad because he didn't realize that spot had been reserved.
No, the guy wanted it, huh? I remember you mentioning that.
He wanted that spot.
Did they not have your little reserve tag on the post?
At the time, they just had a little red. Hold on. What is that saying? Okay, a little red tag saying reserved. And nobody was here yet, and we were setting up camp on the next slot over. You know, I was waiting for you guys to all show up.
So as Mark reserved, you went in there anyway. So
to show up.
Tough luck on him.
No, well, there was confusion because the main board out by the entrance to the park had number 16 as open. So they drove down and found 16 had a reserve sign on it.
Oh,
so
right.
which is which? What's going on here? You know, because that's why they do. They change the numbers around out at the board when people don't turn up or whatever to show you what's available right now. And 16 was available for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, you're going to have all kinds of issues. And I'm like, I'm not having all kinds of issues. I paid for this like 3 months ago, dear. You're not having. And he left and he grabbed my paperwork out of my hand to look at the dates and everything. And I took it back from him and I said, no, this is mine. But I ended up folding that barcode and sticking it right on the, you know, the reserve spot. And, waited. But it was a couple hours before then Brent had said he was coming. He fixed his car amazingly and was coming.
Right on the side of the road. He did it himself.
I know.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Brent, you're not here. Can you hear us or anything? There he is.
Yep. I'm here. Sorry about that. That's what I do.
So I was just telling everybody how, you know, you were like, I can't even imagine where you were at on the side of the road, broke down, and how all that happened. But you made it happen within 24 hours, pretty less than that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a wild one. I yeah, my axle broke on my car just cause. So I was driving down the road, almost ran into a semi because it just jerked the wheel like that. And, it was just like this clunking, and I didn't know what it was at the time. And then I was able to limp off to, I was on the side of the road for a little while. Then I was able to limp off to this one rest stop. And then I was able to eventually limp to an AutoZone where I, replaced my axle. It took me forever. I didn't have any tools with me, so I had to go buy tools everywhere else. And so I had to stay the night at an AutoZone parking lot. And shitty, that's not even the worst part. It's like car camping. Well, because I couldn't leave anything because all my shit's in the back. But there was a train that went by literally every hour, and I was like 20 feet from the railway, and it's like got no sleep that night. I couldn't figure out my car because I couldn't get the strut worked up, and apparently with Subarus you got to have both front wheels up in order to get one strut. I don't know. But yeah, man, that sucked. I did not think I was going to make it because I thought it was a transmission issue. But then, once I looked into it more and, it sucked. But then my brakes went out. I started driving. I'm like, what is that squeaking? And that's when I was like contacting Jonathan. I'm like, hey, dude, can you come pick me up? Blah, blah, blah. Because I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then it stopped, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna go to Canada. Screw it, I was like, it was more past the halfway point. Yeah. So I show up into camp, and it's like Nikki heard me come, from like probably half a mile away with my screeching car going, which
I'm like, that is Brent right there.
Yeah, I was like done. I was done trying to. I was going to replace the brakes and stuff. I already did, but I wasn't going to do it there. And then because I was like, screw this, I'm just going, and had to replace the rotor too. So, but it was worth it. And I get into Canada, and yeah, that was fun. So that was my car. I still have the axle. I think I might like put it up on a wall or something. It was like, it's like that's my white rhino type thing. Man, that thing was an axle going out like it was like, okay, that's random, like no real signs that it was going to happen or anything like that. And I was just like, damn.
Brent MacGyver putting your car back together.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Do you think it was just Canada telling you to stay away?
Something, I don't know what it was. It was a divine intervention that I gave it the bird and still went on with my way.
There you go.
Right on.
I mean, I had already, okay, he can't come. Let's just pray that Trackway gets here and then Jonathan is tailing right behind. And but you showed first. Matter of fact, before those two. And
yeah, I remember the message that he sent. Oh, they let me into Canada, suckers, or something he said.
Sure did.
Yeah.
And then Track, you and Jonathan were following each other. Is that right?
Yeah, I was following Bill.
Yeah. He landed in Seattle the same time I was taking off for Bellingham. So I figured we'd be there at Bellingham the same time, and about 3 hours later because of traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, it took a while for me to get up to Bellingham.
Yeah.
Which is the smallest airport I've ever seen, by the way. That Bellingham airport is real cute. It's just got gates A, B, and C, D. That's it.
Boy, wish it was that way in Seattle.
Yeah, no, it's not. But then Trackway shows up, and we're like, well, we had been actually with Thomas in his little green truck of his, and Brent was in back. He threw himself in the back and was getting footage from back there. And we went to go look at Grasshopper's sighting area. And,
when I pulled into the road there at the sign, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to go up or to the left, and I saw you guys, but I didn't see all three of you. I just saw two, and I thought, wow, the park systems works really late around here. That's pretty impressive. I thought you guys were park system. And then I drove back, and then I saw you coming up behind me because I wasn't sure if I was in the right place or not. And then, you pull up and Thomas, I look down, there's Thomas. I'm like, oh, how'd that happen?
It took me a second too to realize it was you,
No, same here.
like, oh, it's Bill, he's here. And because I thought you were just going to ask some question, about where, whatever. And
Oh, geez, from that point on, we just said, follow us.
yeah. Then we took you up to another sighting spot at the little pond, and then we swung back around and went to the camp. And but you didn't know at that time that Jonathan didn't make it across the border.
No,
Jonathan did not. No, I got held up at the border, and they had me park the car and go into the building. And after speaking with the lady in there, because of some misdemeanors that I had for fighting, she could not work the paperwork and allow me to come into Canada. Told me that I need to get with the court system and get a waiver generated. And then if I have the waiver, then I can go into Canada. So unfortunately, after a couple hours, I felt horrible making all you folks wait and not being able to go up there. And Bill, he was aggressively trying to figure out where I went because he had gone through. And they just had me park the car, leave the keys in it, and come in and sit down. I didn't think I'd be in there for very long. But I was in there for a while. And then they signed the paperwork to allow me to leave Canada to go back into the United States. And I got into that gas station, and then I looked at the dashboard and saw this battery icon lighting up saying it only had 1%. And I've never drove a hybrid vehicle that's electric and gas. Didn't really know what it meant. But then the check engine light came on, so I knew something was going wrong. So I called Enterprise, and they pretty much told me, don't start the truck, shut it off. We're calling a tow truck, and we'll have an Uber take you wherever you want to go.
Was this a rental, John?
Yeah, Enterprise rental.
Okay, and it was an electric car.
It was a hybrid, gas and electric.
Oh,
yeah. And I just, I had plenty of gas. I just didn't understand why the check engine light and the battery icon was coming on. There's something was failing. And, I certainly didn't want to damage their vehicle, but I was not very happy the fact that the only thing they wanted to do is send Uber to grab me and drop me off wherever. And I said, you don't understand. Like, I have a lot of stuff packed in this Jeep, provisions and camping gear. And there wasn't any hotels available in that town right there at the border. So the tow truck driver, after a lot of conversations with Enterprise and can I speak to your supervisor? No. Speak to your supervisor? No. After the third one, they still wouldn't bring me a vehicle. The tow truck driver was wicked cool. He called his wife, and they were just going to hook up the car and keep it somewhere local and take it down in the morning. He ended up driving me all the way down to Bellingham, where I had rented a hotel. He helped me unpack everything and bring it in there. He was really cool. I tipped him well. Great guy. So stayed there for the evening. Hotel room's refrigerator was broken, so all the food that I had was getting warm. I asked him if he had ice. He had a soda machine or something over there. So I said, well, can I empty it into my cooler? He was cool about that. And stayed the night there, got up in the morning, got a taxi to take me down to Bellingham, because on the 4th of July, the only Enterprise dealerships that were open were the ones that were at the airport.
Oh.
So that's why, I just stayed right in Bellingham. Even though I rented the vehicle from Seattle-Tacoma Airport, didn't matter which Enterprise you were at. So they hooked me up with another vehicle. I went back to the hotel room, packed all that stuff up, and Brent had sent me a GPS location, I think earlier that evening, you folks had all gotten in touch with me, and when all this was happening, and I was trying to explain what was going on and how bad I felt, and you guys had showing a lot of empathy and friendship, and I really, really, really appreciate that. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. You guys have my back the whole way, and that really meant a lot to me. And Brent sent the GPS location to an area that he researches in the Cascade Mountains. So I punched that in and headed that way the following day once I had a new vehicle. And I didn't even get an hour into that trip, and the check engine light came on that Toyota. But I was like, all right, enough's enough. I said, let's drive the wheels right off this thing. I'm headed into the woods and set up camp. That's that. The Toyota made it. And it did pretty good because we used it to power up electronics. I mean, probably burned that thing ran probably 8 hours a day sitting there idle. But yeah, so I will get that paperwork straightened out, and I will make it a point to come up to meet you gentlemen. And I am sincerely sorry that I caused a disruption in this Sasquatch Shindig. I wanted so badly to come up there, and you guys showed some support and really propped me up, because I mean, inside I was like a volcano. I was pretty ripping mad about what was going on. I had done a lot of footwork prior with the court systems to get all this stuff straightened out. I probably should have brought over the paperwork for the relief of, I don't know the exact word, but like relief of disabilities, and then the sealing order, which I'm working with the court on to just give me back my life, to seal my record, which, unless I was to commit another crime, it's not pulled up in public records. It's not pulled up when you get pulled over for a speeding ticket or a parking or a little skirmish of some sort or whatever. It only gets brought back up if you commit another crime. So, but my son, he went to the house,
and it happened. I mean, we can't change what happened. And Brent, I think he knew right away. That he was going to go over there and be with you. And then what happened? And Trackway jumped off here. But I know those two conspired. They conspired, and they said, we're heading out. We're going to go find Jonathan.
I was pretty darn excited. When I was over there, I stayed the first night, and the next morning, I'm starting to think about what I'm going to do. And then I started thinking, wait a minute, I need to drive out of here and go let all them folks know that I'm alive. I mean, the last message I think I sent was, I am headed to the GPS location that you had sent me, and thank you, and so on and so forth. But after that, nobody would have known, did he make it there? Is he alive, or where is he? So when I came out and, let everybody know that I was okay and that I had gone there and camped for the night, that's when Brent had said, yeah, we're going to be there in like 3 hours. And I was like, oh, cool. And it was kind of a mixed emotion, though, because part of me was like, oh man, you guys got to leave up there. I just kind of really was feeling, a little bad about, this whole situation and messing up anything up there in Canada. But I was super grateful for everybody's empathy and kind words, and for Brent and Trackway to come over. We had a fantastic time, and what an area that is up in there. I'll tell you, wow. Something else.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen, can you see what's happening with Trackway? Can he not get back in, or?
Yes. Yeah. So when we found out what happened with Jonathan and just his whole journey, man, up to the point where, bam, at the border, was just like, man, that sucks. So, could it get any worse? And we just me and Trackway was talking, and it just seemed like it felt like the right thing to do to divvy up time, and I feel horrible about it. And, with Nikki putting on the event and us leaving early. But, I don't know, I felt it was the right thing to do. Just because I just, you didn't want you to be out there alone. Because I don't know, man, I didn't know how you were up to that point on like everything on, if you're like thinking it was like the shittiest experience ever. And
no, we took good care of her there, Brett.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I felt confident in Thomas, which way? Oh, yeah. Which you guys did. And it was a great experience. But, I definitely, it's kind of what it is, I guess, I don't know.
And I want to apologize too to Brent and Trackway for being, because I was really, really upset at that point. I wasn't upset that they had made that decision, because I did know it was the right thing to do, to go out there and be with Jonathan. But I had so much shit planned for Saturday, and it just went, in a second. So
Sorry.
And that was.
I'm really sorry, Nikki. I really am. And Jerry, Thomas, Bill, all of you guys. I am sorry that
Michael
happened.
Stepped up, and Bill, and they did not leave my sight. And Bill arranged for Brad Trent to take me on that amazing trip on Saturday. So I was good. I was good after that. And then Thomas hosted. Before we knew it, it was time to leave. It was Sunday.
Actually, I was a little concerned. What? Bill's got Brett taking Nikki in the woods, or as we all call him, Death Adventure 2000?
Yeah, it was amazing, that whole trip, which you guys can all go watch, the Brad Trent excursion I did. And
all your videos, Nikki, I've been loving watching all of that and see what all happened up in there.
Thanks. That was
Thomas. I bought all your books. I wanted to get you to sign the books. Oh man, I gotta get up there.
Hey John, I gotta tell you, man.
It was like I was wobbly because it was so much, bouncing around he had me doing over there.
For future consideration, if you get that paperwork, keep it on you all times, because I had an incident 20 years ago that I actually had to go to court for, and I was found not guilty, and I was told right then everything will be expunged. But every time I've crossed the border, they bring it up and ask me about it.
Thomas, what that gal told me was that even though the misdemeanors that I got, which were both for fighting, they were considered felonies in Canada. And that was the situation. It was considered a lighter offense here in America, a heavy offense to them. And so, yeah, I really did not think that Canada would have been so tight. You are 100% right. If you're going to come to the border in Canada, I think I should be a living lesson to all. Make sure you have your shit together.
Well, you may want to check
for sure.
Sealing your records won't do it. It's like in Canada, we can have a pardon. So if we get pardoned in Canada for a crime, the U.S. doesn't recognize that. So if we go to the States and you have a past record, they can prevent you from coming in. So you actually have to apply to the American government for a waiver to cross. You're probably the same coming into Canada. Even if you have the record sealed, you'll probably still have to ask for a waiver to get the okay to come up. So just remember that, because just because it's sealed or pardoned, that's only in your home country. That's not on the international scale.
I think you're right on, Bill. Absolutely. And it's only 3 hours, 3.5, 4 hours for me to drive to the Canadian border. So once I work with the court system in the Canadian border and get these waivers, I don't know how long they last, But yeah, you can bet your bottom dollar if I ever decide to cross the Canadian border again, I will have everything in hand, and I'll be checking ahead of time with all of them to make sure that I have what I need, because I was deeply sorry for not being able to get across that border and causing everybody lost time and messing up everybody's schedules and just kind of put a whole twist on things that wasn't necessary because of my negligence.
Don't worry about it, Jonathan.
You know, at the end of the day, we all had a good time. So, you know, it's water under the bridge, and I think, you know, Nikki really enjoyed her time with Brad on the Saturday. You had a great time with Brent and Bill. So, at the end of the day, no harm, no foul. Learned a lesson.
Thank you, sir.
Forward.
Yeah, I think we adjusted really well. You know, you got sometimes curveballs get thrown at you, and all you can do is adjust. I've known people go up the border, get confused for other people, and they have border SWAT go on them. You know, just that's not the situation. You know, this situation didn't happen, of course.
No.
But I'm just saying that, you know, things can happen, but we adjusted. I think we adjusted really well. And that's actually a really good sign of a team and how a team works. And Nikki, kudos to you. You put together a very good team.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're watching shots here of the Jacko site.
I was going to say, is that the cliff off the railroad? I mean, is that the general area where that?
It's right outside number 4, the spot where Jacko was allegedly captured in 1880.
Right there's the actual.
Just a little ahead of where those pictures were taken.
Isn't that something? Wow.
You know, I used to grow up reading. I don't know if you ever heard of Daniel Cohen. He's a skeptical writer, but he also told a lot of the tales at the time. And Jacko was on the tales he used to tell, and it was one of my favorite growing up. I never once thought in my life that I'd actually be standing in that spot. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I haven't taken too many people there. Well, I have now, I guess, but I want you to apologize to the group because I always seem to pick the hottest days of the year to go there.
For real, man. That was like blazing hot because it was just like blasting off the rock wall back into you. And it was like 200 degrees out there. It was nice. Well worth it.
But I got to tell you, Thomas, the backseat of that car of yours, I mean, it was hot when we got going, but as soon as you started going down the highway, it cooled down like right now. And that was the most comfortable sleep I had in the longest time in the backseat of that car.
Oh my.
That's some serious jet lag you got to deal with traveling from one end of the country to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It must be because nobody sleeps when Thomas is driving.
Except
I love
Thomas.
that truck. Yeah,
I
that
could
truck
be with
you
my
have.
talking as we go that put them to sleep. That's right.
Oh, I've been in
There.
my UTV with Thomas, and I talk away, and Thomas is just there with his eyes open, cruising along. Thomas, are you awake? What? That has happened more than once. I remember we were coming down a steep hill one time, and I was driving. He was the passenger, and I was talking, and nothing. And I looked over at him, and there he was with his head on his chest, just like he'd been shot by a sniper or something. You know? And I slam on the brakes, and he goes in and thumps his head off the windshield, the half windshield. And I said, oops, sorry, that was an accident.
Wake him up.
Yeah, I mean, no, the only one who goes to sleep when Thomas is driving is Thomas. I have to admit that.
Well, we might have something in common, Thomas, because I had to have Trackway drive us home one evening. We were just cruising the roads, and I just couldn't keep my eyes open for nothing. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, we're only doing maybe 1.5 miles to 2 miles an hour, but I'm about ready to put us into pucker brush here. I keep nodding out.
I gotta apologize. I mean, as I'm getting older, I mean, I work a job here where I work at nights from, like 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. I usually go to bed at 6 a.m. and sleep to about noon or 1, right? But when we're doing stuff like this, I work at night and then I go out and do this stuff during the day, and I got to work that night again.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. Anytime I ever go anywhere, anytime I ever go anywhere with Thomas, the very first question is when he gets into a vehicle, how much sleep did you get last night?
Oh, now you tell me, Mary, you didn't warn me about that.
And
I was 3 days in and out of that little green truck.
Didn't know what you were getting yourself into.
Subaru. Yeah.
Well, last time Thomas was in my Jeep with me, we were coming back from when we were coming from Chilliwack Lake, a different area that's had a lot of sightings. I'm talking away to him, ask him a question, don't get an answer. I look over, and he's dead asleep. I have no idea how long. That's why we'll never find Sasquatch right there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Get it while you can, Get it
It's all
while you can.
Thomas's fault.
Those are just power naps, so I'm wide awake during the big incident.
Yeah, when the action happens. That's right.
Power naps behind the wheel. Yeah.
That's the way it goes, right? When these things happen, you're out in the woods and whatnot, you're supposed to be by yourself, which means somebody has to be asleep if you're both in the car. So
that's right.
I had a moment where my hair got stood up on end, and I'm like, did you hear that? And all I heard was, what?
Yeah, I came too when you said that.
Oh, I'm very sorry. I did not know you had a thing with trains.
Oh, for me, yeah. Well, I didn't know I had that strong a thing either. So when we're going on the tracks, it's really hot. It's a long way, but we're going. I'm excited. We're gonna see the Jacko spot, and I start freaking out about being on the train tracks from as soon as we stepped on the tracks, matter of fact, because it's an active track. It's what did you say, every 20 minutes a train's coming through there?
Yeah, usually. Yeah, especially on a weekday.
Yeah, and I have a thing with trains. I have ever since I got stuck on the tracks as a 16-year-old. So that just the sound of the train coming by me freaked me out completely.
Man.
And I was not a happy camper because I didn't know.
Not to mention before you get to the spot where the Jacko cliff is, there's a little narrow, almost like with a rail fence, where there's just no room on either side. So I always tell people we got to get through this next 100 and so feet fast in case the train comes the other way. Yeah,
that'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
that must have been what Jacko was thinking.
Yeah,
up. I'm not gonna make it.
So you had 6 or 8. You had 6 or 8 people all of a sudden hear Benny Hill music, and they start that down the railroad track as fast as they could go.
Benny Hill is cool.
It was scary. It was scary. I was scared.
All in all, you had a pretty terrifying experience coming to Canada, didn't you?
Yeah, it was. I think Friday I cried like 2 or 3 times.
Tears of joy to be going home.
It was just it was an emotional day. I got all emotional also at the Chapman area. They're near Ruby Creek.
Well, that's about the only place that still looks like it did 40 years ago, more or less.
It was amazing. And I don't have any photos like this of that area. All my photos from there come straight off of my video, which is out there if you guys want to take a look at the Chapman. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Now we're in a different place. Okay, these are okay. That right there is the end of the Jacko, and then this is with Brad Trent. Is the rest of these photos?
That's the area.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you can even see the video of us heading out that way. We did a live, got like 2,000 views on it.
Nice.
And then just, you know, us getting to the Chapman place. It was amazing. And the whole history there and seeing, oh, that's what I was going to show. Brent sent me pictures of that. So let's see if I can pull those up here real quick.
Send pictures of what?
Didn't you send me pictures of
I'm not sure.
Of them or something. Yeah, they came through.
We're talking about the trees of the Chapman site. Hell, I even sent you pictures when we did a thing on the Ruby Creek incident.
Yeah, I've got them all over the place right now.
You know when
just-
Thomas, Thomas took us in there to go find that branch or to go find that axe handle and stuff. For like most of the time I was there, I thought a branch is what he was talking about. I'm like, wow, that's not what I thought it would look like. But then I went back and looked some more, and yeah, you see the axe handle right there. That was like really cool because you could see, it's like it reminds me when I took the kids to that bike that's grown into the tree and stuff, and it's just how nature kind of reclaims things. That was a really cool part of the whole Chapman experience. Was that axe handle?
Yeah, it's a shovel.
Or shovel, yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. It's still there, and testament to time.
It's starting to bend, I noticed. So I have the feeling it's not going to be there much longer because it's starting. The handle used to be perfectly straight, sticking out of the tree for many decades. I noticed when we were all there the last time, it's starting to sag. So I have the feeling it's going to fall off soon.
I just got to kind of keep an eye on it.
There it is. I thought you sent it to me.
There it is. See, it's bending.
Yeah.
That's George Chapman's shovel, still stuck in the tree.
Isn't that something?
Could use a bit of Viagra, couldn't he?
Maybe just a little. What's that symbol on the end of it?
I have no idea.
That's a Japanese symbol.
Yeah.
I forget at the moment what it is. It's quite common.
I do that. Where is it?
Yeah, no, that Chapman place is really cool.
There it is. There it is, right there.
Because didn't we do the? I'm sorry, I missed the early part of the show. Did you talk about the night walks that we did down that old Chapman Trail or whatever, where we actually had to go drive around just to go to this Chapman area, but we were actually on the Chapman Road or something that would usually just take us there if it wasn't washed out and whatever.
You mean the actual Deer Lake Trail?
Yeah, the Deer Lake Trail. Yeah.
Ruby Creek. It links up, right, Thomas?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Deer Lake Trail, the one you went on in behind the campground?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought it linked up to this one here.
Well, it does. It eventually connects to Ruby Creek Road, but you're way up north on the road for that.
Okay, yeah. Wrong spot. Anyways.
Was the original Chapman house to the left of those trees from that?
No, the original Chapman house is gone. It's
right.
gone for decades. That's the new house by the new owners, and their house is on the other side of it.
If the original one was there, would it have been on the left of those trees?
Bring that picture back up there, Nikki. I'll show you.
On the left, tucked right underneath the branches.
Bring the picture back up, Nikki.
Yeah, old white rickety looking house.
What I'll do, Jonathan, somewhere I've got a copy. I stole it from Thomas of a PowerPoint GIF he has where it superimposes a picture of the old cabin on top of where the new cabin is, and it goes sort of back and forth. A friend of ours, Barry Blunt, I think it was Barry that took the picture years ago, wasn't it, Thomas?
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll share it on our thread, and it just goes. You'll have to download it because, like I said, it's a GIF. but it'll show you where the old cabin was in relation to the new house.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Now,
that would
if
be
you look at
awesome.
this photograph right here, just in front of Nikki, you see the two big trees in back, the two twin Siamese trees. Those are the two trees you see in John Green's 1957 photo. The house would have been right where that leafy green tree on the right is now.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where the house
Okay.
would have been, very close to there. Matter of fact, part of the big tree in back would have been overgrowing it if it was still there.
Okay.
Because those trees are like 20, 40, 30 feet higher than they were in 1941 and in 1957.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
see
really
there.
Cool. Oh, yeah. Isn't that something? Okay. Huh. So the picture that I saw, I wonder, somebody must have had reversed it. Or that's just my brain. Had it reversed.
Now, you see that where Nikki has the red dot, move that, or the star, move that star down to the other end of those two trees, and that's where it is now.
Okay.
Put the star in the wrong place.
Isn't that something? Yeah, I watched that video on Sasquatch Archives. Is that Renee DeHinden?
Yes, it is.
I thought so.
Yeah.
No.
And that's him crossing the fence right by the CN rail line. Now, those trees in the background are a lot further back now because Lougheed Highway didn't exist there. There's now a highway there on the other side of those tracks. So the tree line's even further back now.
Ah, okay.
So
But
that's
that
what he's
doesn't exist more, right?
What was that, Nikki?
That fence doesn't exist anymore, right?
Oh, well, there's a fence there. Whether that's the same strand, I have no idea.
And you had to remember that same strand is what the creature, Renee is climbing over it, but the creature just stepped over it.
Stepped
and
over
kept
it.
on trucking.
It's even possible that this picture was taken of Renee in 57, so that's quite a few years after 41. It might not even have been the original strand of fence then. Yeah.
Right.
Well, Thomas, I do know the fence that's there now is not the same fence because if you remember when we went there with that reporter from Outdoor Canada, Pauline was with us, and Pauline had been at the Chapman farm because her dad had friends there, and the fence that was there in 2012 was not the same fence.
Yes, you're right.
You remember it as a kid in the 70s.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all overgrown back there anyways. You can't even see the fence.
Yeah, I think the posts are still in the same place, but they've probably replaced the fence itself a dozen times since 41. Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
That's a picture I took of the site in 2011 where only one tree is growing up in front of them. The one to the right was so small you couldn't see it over the bushes. Those bushes are now gone, and that other tree is almost as tall as the other one now.
Wow. Boy, things grow up fast. Wow.
Yeah, see, those bushes were right in front of Nikki, and they're not there now. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, things change fast.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's incredible. Like every spring, like Nikki was talking about Face Slap Alley when Bill was alive, the late Bill Reed, and we ran his tour route through there. Every spring, we go down there with a generator on the back of the carrier, and we go down with two electric hedge clippers trying to clear the way.
Yeah.
It was so overgrown every year.
Hey, Nikki, I just put that GIF in our message.
Okay.
If you wanted to put it on there so people could see it.
So supposedly this is the area that got burned right here.
Yeah, that was in 2015. That used to be
well,
all
no,
forest.
recently.
No,
This
They
happened.
burned down and they cleared all the burns.
No, Thomas, it's the fire that just happened.
One that just happened.
No, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking
Yes,
about
we're talking about the fire that just happened after
Oh,
This
okay.
is now on the way up with Brad. This photo right here.
Yeah. Well, that area right there that you're looking at, that burned in 2015.
Yeah, it's burned again.
Yeah.
That whole area was littered with shells, with casings everywhere.
Thanks for sending that, Bill. That's really cool.
And the one in 2015 was started by a bunch of yahoos firing off fireworks.
That'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
That'll do it. Boy, look at them mountains out through there. That's beautiful out there. Wow.
This is where we're letting it cool off because I told you it got overheated a little bit. Nothing like thinking that you were going to be stuck out there.
Couldn't be the first time for Brad. But
Yep.
that's why we
He's
made him buy
fine.
that's why we made him buy a satellite communicator.
Brad's taken a lot of people out with him in the bush, and he's only lost a third of them.
That's not bad. What was that great big huge slug, Brent? In there was in some of them pictures that you sent over. I mean, is that thing?
Yeah,
is that a foot long? I mean, am I?
No, about
No.
3 or 4 inches, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
it's just-
real close.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I don't know. Maybe I am glad I didn't get up there if you got foot long snails.
Well, you must have them in Washington too.
Oh yeah, yeah, like banana slugs and stuff. No, I just took it because it's like a potential food source because they're
Right on.
everywhere out there. I mean, I don't know what the caloric intake is, but yeah,
Well,
definitely don't want to
they,
step on them, man. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I was studying these gray fox out here, it appeared that there was a lot of snails and slugs, and they secrete this protection foam and slime that they can really secrete out, and actually it's used for cosmetics. It's very valuable, some of it, or some of the snails. So raccoons have a pretty neat little method of eating them. They in the fox do too. They know that slime is going to come out, so when they bite onto it, they get it to some dirt and they get it rolled up really quick in the dirt as it's starting to slime, and then they bite, swallow before all that stuff foams up in their mouth, and they can't work it very well. Although they're very tasty, they put out a lot of snail slime.
yeah, I think I took that one at that Cascade Bigfoot site because that was in reference to kind of what we talked about in that, and that's what potentially is out there, as far as what could have been on that platter plate he was talking about.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's right. I remember you had said that. So there must be some serious snail trails out there. You ever see like a snail traveling on a stone or concrete? It leaves this little sparkly, zigzaggy line where they travel, and it starts to shine sometimes. And some of them do. If you look at it just right in the light on a piece of wood or something like that, it'll sparkle, that slime, when it dries up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think where I grew up in Maple Ridge, we had a hobby farm, and the property next to us was vacant. And every year, the black slugs, which are a couple inches long, they would have like a hatching, and that field would literally have thousands at least of those slugs all over.
Wow.
And you couldn't walk. And I mean, we used to just let the ducks out there because our ducks used to love it because they'd eat, they'd fill up on them. But you'd get in a field at the right time of year, you can get hundreds or thousands of them.
Isn't that something? Woo. I don't know. They're slow moving little boogers. I don't think they bite you or anything. Well, I know some folks actually go into spas and they'll put the slugs or snails. Snails. Yes, snails. and they'll put them right on their face and let the snails travel across their face for cosmetic reasons. And they process these snails. I've seen them put them in a big old wash tub, and then they start to churn them, and it activates the slugs to release all this slime, and it bubbles up to the top. It's quite a little racket. They make a lot of money off that stuff.
You got to wonder who the first person was that says, "Hey, I want to put a slug on my face."
And you could go from there. Right on. I think I look a lot better today. I let them snails crawl under my eyes. I'm looking good.
So yeah, that's that was the snail picture there. Sums that up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where that was taken, that picture. It almost looked like Silver River.
Yeah, you probably went up that, continued up north by that logging, abandoned logging camp and everything.
Yeah, just beyond the airstrip, just off the airstrip, you can go down to Silver
we were
River.
already coming down at this point.
Look at the snow on them mountains. That really blew me away. I mean, we don't have mountains over here. I mean, I don't even know if Mount Marcy carries snow in July, but yeah, that took me back. The plane ride out there, there was 3 mountains that I later found out are volcanoes. And I mean, of all the mountains that we were flying over, the Rockies, obviously, these 3 mountains stood out way higher than everything else. And we're in somewhat of a line, I guess, be headed south down the west coast.
Yeah.
And, they're volcanoes. That's something else. I mean, they were covered in snow.
Well, that's where you're camped at, man. It was like right at the, incredibly close to a volcano. Like just right over that ridge there. They're everywhere.
Okay, was that the one where you could see at the end of the valley covered in snow, that up in there?
No, that was a different mountain. This one you can't see it where we were because we're too low.
Oh, okay.
You'd have to go up on the ridge or
right on.
Go to a different location. But yeah, it's right there at the incredibly close. I mean that river right there comes straight from the from Glacier Peak.
Yeah. Well, it would make sense.
No, Glacier Peak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The least loved volcano in Washington.
Well, to have land, of that magnitude with those mountains like that, you would have to have, a lot of volcanic activity and continental plate collisions over millions of years to create, that extreme, mountainous terrain pushing up that high. I mean, in my opinion, I would think so. And I do believe geologically that's how it all played out over there. There's a huge fault line, right?
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver Island is the result of the Pacific plate going underneath the continental plate. And that's, it's a geosyncline, and that's what's pushed up Vancouver Island. So we do have a convergence of plates here. That's why we're part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. So eventually, this area is going to be earthquake and/or volcanoes take it out. Depends on which doomsday prophet you listen to first.
Yeah, right. Yep.
I can't imagine what it was like living in this area, southern BC, Washington State, in the mid 1800s, like 1830 to 1850, when almost every mountain we know that's a volcano in the Cascade Range was erupting. Mount Baker went off, Mount Rainier went off, Mount St. Helens went off. They all did.
And that was the concern in the when Mount St. Helens blew, that it was actually the first time in recorded history that one of those volcanoes erupted where the other 2 didn't follow shortly after. So when it blew, everyone was on pins and needles that the other 2 were going to go. And if, Thomas and I are old enough to remember there was big concern because Baker at that time was showing a fair bit of activity as well.
Yeah.
And I think for whatever reason we lucked out.
Wow, that's concerning. I mean, geologically, 50, 60, 70 years is not a long time. And I remember when Mount St. Helens had erupted as a child watching it on TV. Am I right? Or am I watching a show as a kid? When did that erupt?
1981.
Yeah, sure. So then I was in school when all that happened.
Oh, by the way, Jonathan, this is what Bill was talking about, the overhang showing the chat site, what it looked like in 57, superimposed to a photograph we took in 2011.
Yeah, that's amazing how that's done right there. That's a great perspective. Spot on, too. Isn't that something?
Yeah, what's really impressive, and it's our late friend Barry Blount that took this picture. But you look at those photos which were taken, 50, 60 years apart, and the snow in the mountains is almost at the exact same place.
Oh wow, it is.
So,
Yeah, it doesn't even change.
So that's amazing. It's between there.
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
Unless
very well done.
Hold on, let me see. Oh nope.
It might be cropped too.
Yeah, I can't get it to do that. What is that? Is that a toy?
Oh, you hear my dog?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a dog? That was a bird.
Yeah, she's got her squeaky toy.
Oh yeah. I've been trying to figure out what it was. I thought it was somebody's seat squeaking,
Oh man, I was like, that's not Freya. I'm like, what'd you do? Get like some little chihuahua or something?
You know when this trackway isn't on camera, when he talks, you see that little thing vibration by his picture there. When that squeaky toy was going off, and he was doing that too. So I was wondering, what the heck is he doing?
Oops. No, she's about due to go into full zoomy mode. So, yeah, 70-pound puppy running around, going bonkers.
Yeah, she's ready for a run, huh?
Okay, so the next thing.
And I got a lot of footage too from the camera from our night walks, and it's really clear. Like I was actually kind of impressed with the infrared light, So I got some of that I still need to post and put together and figure out something to do. So that was a fun time.
I took Nikki 13 kilometers up Stave Lake Road too on a night outing. Yeah.
Yeah. We did our little night jaunt up there, and that was really cool because we were able to live stream half of that going in, and then we did our little, just checking out the area and listening, and but right as we're coming into it, he sees a sign there saying, what did it say about the bear?
Site closed, problem bear.
That's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, okay, that kind of puts a little like, I like to kind of wander, and I didn't wander that night. I stayed pretty close to the truck.
That's a good idea. That sign's there for a reason. He could not be eating well, could just be temperamental. Not all bears are the same. So heed the warnings. Don't be a meal.
Right. The last thing I wanted to do is do that. There's another one of those slugs from that night. Let me see. Let me put that back just a tad. Oops. I don't know where it is. Somewhere. But that was a good run. I mean, it was definitely, we heard some stuff out there. You know, I can't tell you if it was a rabbit or Sasquatch. But you know, it gets your hair, your goosebumps going, and
It's
but
exciting.
it's kind of funny. Yeah, it's exciting.
And it's fun to try to figure out what it is, no matter what
Right.
it is. It is fun to do that.
It was definitely a good one. I know Trackway heard woo at one point, and I heard
Actually-
like what?
Actually, that I would have qualified that as a quality whoop.
Yeah.
'Cause there are, that's when I turned
heard
and looked at you and Brent.
But I didn't hear define. You know, I just know I heard something.
Yeah, because a lot of times you get out there.
Bag behind you a lot, so I was
Mhm.
really trying to not hear the little bag you were dragging.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that trail you run is where the Richard family said they were basically bluff charged by one in 2010.
Wow. Did you guys
Oh.
get the suspected whoop on audio, Trackway?
I don't know yet. I have been so busy with going
Okay.
through material still from New York that I've got like 20 pages of audio notes that I'm on my 5th revision.
Yeah.
That
take-
I haven't gotten into any of the Canada stuff, but we should have had it because I had a camera on my head and I had a camera and H1N in my hands. So
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe you guys would be able to dissect it later on another date.
and I got a big.
I couldn't hear anything off of
Trackway,
my
it's
stuff.
kind of hard to take you seriously with the squeaky toy going off.
Yeah, we only got his word. It's the dog doing it.
I know it. He's not showing the live feed here.
No, because I dropped out because my phone was overheating, so I had to come inside of the AC.
Uh-huh.
So right now, I got my.
And you're
I got-
filming it.
and I got my
Yeah.
phone sitting on a thing of ice.
Stop digging your hole.
What?
Yeah, too
Oh.
late now.
Oh, my heart.
There was a point where, I mean, throughout the night, you know, I was in the front or Brent was in the front, but there came a part where I was like, okay, I'm freaking myself out. Brent can take the lead now. You know, I'm going to fall back a little bit. And then Brent hears a big crack, like something stepped, you know, and it's right when I start talking, of course, but I hear it. And I knew the direction it came from, but then we were like, okay, Track, you gotta go up. You know, he's the one that had the thermal on. So,
Well,
Send the maid up the trail.
but
he was in the
just
Don't forget your squeaky toy.
That ain't going to go away. That's good for the rest of the night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
what the best part was, if you watch the video, there's a part in there right before that happens where you hear me scream out in the back because I was dragging. I had a plastic bag behind me, dragging it behind, trying to build up static electricity to attract hair, you know. And I forgot about it, and all of a sudden, it like caught on a bush or something like that. It made a loud noise and about jumped out of my own skin, and I'm the one pulling the plastic bag.
Yeah, couldn't figure out that plastic bag for the longest time. I'm there almost stepping on it a couple of times, and I'm just like, what is that all about? That's when I eventually asked. I'm like, dude, what's up?
So there's a story told by Mike Ann that they took Joe Schneider, and I believe it was a biologist, and they stopped and they got picnic table cloths, right? And they cut the cloths down so that they could go through the woods, hopefully build up static electricity and attract whatever hair, trying to capture hair samples. Only thing was, the picnic sheets that they got, he's got Joe and that biologist are running through the woods with pink picnic tables behind them.
Oh, how cute.
He just laughs about it. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, but let's not choose pink. So
Yeah.
No, man, Bill, you had track with her. You had like everything all decked. I was actually kind of impressed with your approach to it. Like, you have the helmet cams, you got literally everything that you should be having when investigating, using the right lights. And it's funny, like me, Nikki, or because Trackway would like fall back a ways and stuff, and then we just see like these little red lights, something off like Terminator or Star Trek with the Borg or something. It was just see it on the trail down there, like, what? Good stuff though.
Yeah,
I like
he does
that.
really good. He's got all his bases covered. That's for
Sure does. It's
Brian and Chewy down in Florida, they're like, I'm going to call you Data from here on out. And it works out, because we was thinking about that too a little bit later on, because we're all out there and we're chasing things down, but at the same time we're all running in 1080p, and we're doing that to conserve battery and memory space. And really, with it wasn't so much the lights and the night vision that came on afterwards. For like when I was leaving the stand, I put that together for daylight and for hunting, so that I could run in 4K and not constantly change batteries. I had that battery pack on the back of the helmet, and that freed my hands up, so I could be out in the woods constantly. I could record in 4K 8 hours, 16 hours nonstop, and never have to mess with my hands or anything. And then when it did get night out, I could just quick switch the front camera with another camera and then slap a light on the side, and then my hands were free to carry all my whatever gear I got with me. And it's worked out really well.
It must look pretty cool when they see you walking towards them there, Bill, with all that stuff you have on the red lights and everything.
Well, first I think it's a Borg invasion, but then it's Bill.
Yes,
that's just Bill.
Yes.
You got the Predator or the Terminator come towards you, then all of a sudden that squeaky toy goes off, and it all goes up.
But
that won't matter to the Wu. They'll still worship him anyway.
Well, one night we thought for sure, because we was down south somewhere, and it wasn't so much a Bigfoot investigation, but we kept running into locals, and it's like we was waiting for the next day in the newspaper. Somebody saw glowing red eyes coming at them through the woods. But yeah, one side's a infrared light. It's the higher frequency, and then the other side's the red light just for me to see. And that one little light is it's really hard, or really strong. You can see pretty far with it. And
Got a tail.
and the other thing about it too is that it's pretty stable. It's Central Florida Bigfoot's right.
You hear it again?
When you're out and you're looking, and say you have something happen on your immediate left, all right? Well, your assessment tools, which is your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, that's going to turn towards it and it's going to assess it, while your body is going to prepare for fight or flight. And we almost found that out almost instantaneous, because me and the wife were out and we were hearing these serious cracks in the woods, these really loud wood knocks. So we went to investigate it. And so I got one camera in the hand, and I got the camera on my head, or specifically on the helmet at that time. And as soon as it cracked, my eyes and my head went straight towards it, but the camera in my hand never moved. So, like I said, when you're assessing it, he's absolutely right. your assessment tools are your eyes and ears, and that's where you really need to connect with the camera as putting them with your assessment tools.
And it said on the footage you were just using, the bag you were dragging on a cord was for collecting hair samples?
Yeah, the idea behind it is you build static electricity as you're dragging the plastic along, and maybe the plastic bag wasn't the best conduit for it, and then that static electricity will gather or whatever hairs are out there. So it's kind of like, you know, hair to a balloon. That's the idea behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that was the hope. We didn't gather any. We didn't capture any on the trail, but I've been trying to implement that a little bit more when out. And basically, anything anybody throws at me, I'm going to try. I'll try. You know.
Nope.
It's just a matter of me remembering that it's there, you know. So that, you know, when the bag catches on the bush and the bush shakes, I don't jump out of my skin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fortunately, the camera wasn't on me, but you can just hear me in the background going, you know, screaming out in the background. Ah! So.
Was that around the time we heard that one noise?
Yes,
The
well,
video.
that was right before this. When he comes forward, remember? Because you're saying, you come over here, you got the thermal, see what you can see. Was at that point right there. But, you know, so we're like majorly looking up that hill, up that mountain to see what's up there. Because remember, on our right side, it's like a drop off. You know, it's the side of the mountain. So I wasn't really concerned with that side. My whole concern was just ahead of me and to the left, looking up at that mountain and what could come down. I kind of feel like that's the same for both of you guys. I don't know if you were.
Is that Deb?
Yeah.
She's laughing.
Is she chewing the toy now?
Freya's got her hedgehog now. Now she's got the hedgehog squeaking it at my feet.
Sorry, Nikki.
She, you know, dogs just seem to know when you're like, hey, go play someplace else. She's a big baby.
Well, tell Bill Reed tonight, mischief isn't the problem.
Nope.
Well, it's funny, Thomas, because when the squeaking first happened, the first thing I did was mute my speaker and start looking around for Missy, and she was asleep. So I was going, okay, because in our podcast earlier today, you know, she started barking. So
that's the one thing about our dog, Freya. She doesn't bark unless there's really, you know, very rarely does she bark at all. But man, she just loves to run and she loves to chase things. She keeps bringing.
My dog doesn't like it when the kids next door go in their backyard because she seems to think that she owns the whole block.
Confiscated Squeaky. Mrs. Trackway confiscated for Squeaky.
Freya's bringing it to me to throw now.
Yeah.
That's why we love dogs. They make our life interesting.
Yes, amen to that. So what was the conclusion on the sound, Nikki? Did you have to start moving on?
We went forward. We continued forward, and with Trackway leading the way, and then I realized I was in the back, and was like, "Oh, great," you know. And then Brent mentions mountain lions, and I'm like,
"Oh boy,"
you know. Okay. Actually, I felt safe. I didn't feel scared out there. So, for whatever that's worth. Bears were on my mind more than anything, as usual. I'm always thinking about bears.
You didn't find it any creepier than Washington State last year, did you?
Mm-mm. No. Well, I found it more interesting, I guess. But for 4 days, it was very benign in Washington. There was nothing, nothing that gave me like the creeps or the willies or anything. It was just a nice hikes and nothing super interesting. But I felt really like involved on these walks, in this night there. It just maybe because of how thick the growth was, gets you a little bit
claustrophobic.
It probably didn't help you, Nikki, that I arrive into your guys' camp and the first thing out of my mouth is, hey, there was a pretty good sized bear just at the other campsite.
That'll do it.
So that set the tone for me. It was just the things I know. The things I know are bear, That last night, Saturday night, I woke up to something going through our garbage and it was almost empty. The garbage was like empty. It just had a couple of cans in the bottom and Michael had gotten it and rolled up the plastic and just, pushed it down and left it out. Well, that was enough to get something to come into the camp and rustle around. And I'm like, oh shit, again, last night. What's happening with the last night? And but as I'm listening, I heard what it was. And because I started to hear the little chittering and I'm like, that's a raccoon. That is 100% a raccoon out there trying to get into the garbage. So I wasn't concerned. And I was so tired that I didn't even bother to get up to look at it because it was literally right there outside but the tent they had me in had the inside flap and then 2 more on the outside. So it would have been this big old deal just to get out to see this raccoon. But so the next day, I'm trying to find the picture right now. I told Michael that there was a raccoon out here and he was trying to get into the garbage. And I look over at his generator in the garbage and you can see all the little paw prints all over all his stuff. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had gotten up to take a picture, but oh well. Well, no sooner than we had left, he had shot me a photo. He caught the raccoon. He got a picture of the raccoon.
Oh, nice. That's
which
cool.
I'm trying to get to right now, but because I have everything going,
they're persistent animals, them raccoons, and they're very witty, crafty. They're actually really cool to watch in the wild.
Michael, you can
dig in for crayfish and the brooks and stuff.
It'll be faster. I'm trying to go up, but it's not a lot.
No,
don't think they're little wimps. I'll tell you that. A raccoon is a tough animal. A very
I don't
tough
know.
Animal.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but that night walk, when I left and went back down the trail to get my backpack out of the truck.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that was about where that whoop came from. It's got to be recorded. But when I got the backpack out of the truck and put it back on and started going back down the trail to catch up with you guys, I don't know why, but I got a little bit creeped out right in there. And I don't know if it's just because of the claustrophobia, because the environment kind of encloses you, or what the deal was. But I was like, okay, we need to increase the pace here a little bit. But
well, Brent's the one who stopped. He stopped for you, and he said, "We'll wait here and let him catch up." And then we see your little red, coming, and it looks like 2 eyes. At some point, it looks like 2 eyes coming at you. And the orb. Then you had an orb, following. So that was funny. That was a good sight.
Well,
to
that's
see.
one of the things that a lot of people don't realize out here from other areas is actually how thick our woods are.
yes,
I mean, we're a temperate rainforest here, and And as you saw, Nikki, you get 10 feet off a road, 15 feet off the road, and you disappear. I mean, any hunter out here can tell you, 1,000-pound moose takes 2 steps off a road and you can't see them.
Gone.
And a lot of the forest stuff we have here is so spongy in that you'd never get footprints out of it. You may get indistinguishable holes and things like that, but when guys like Pilates talk about the BC Triangle and getting lost, it's not anything supernatural. It is so thick, mountainous, and everything else that you could disappear just by falling off a trail.
When we were at that opening to the park and looking at Grasshopper's sighting area, and they went up, but I couldn't go up that steep hill. So I went to find a new area, where I could kind of cross and go across. Well, it was so hard to track that, and I was wearing Crocs.
I know was it your happy shoes?
My happy shoes.
Happy shoes.
Let's go look for Bigfoot and Crocs.
No. Anyway.
Do you have the little pins that go in your Crocs?
Yes, I do.
You do.
They were the happy shoes. They were very happy. They were happy to be there.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I didn't make it over there, but I couldn't even hear them. I wasn't even that far away. How far away was I, Brent?
Probably about 50 yards, maybe. Or maybe 75.
We're actually calling to you, too.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. I lost that footage. I don't have that footage, and I don't have the rest of the jackal footage either. But for whatever, well, I know the reason, but it's neither here nor there. But yeah, you can't hear. And I fell the first night. I barely stepped like a foot out off the track, and I a hole. So when I went to turn, my foot stayed in the hole, and I did this slow fall.
Is that when we went out together?
Yeah, first night.
I'm like, is she falling? Like, I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was like, what? And actually, she's falling, and by the time I get over there, she already fell.
Oh, man.
Literally, I was like,
slow-mo.
I was like, no.
There she goes.
I'm falling. Yeah, it was weird. That was a weird fall.
Yeah, it was.
I have it. I'll put it out there if I have it. I'll put it out because it was funny. I thought it was funny. But yeah, because I had misjudged that first night. I misjudged how far the trailhead was from the camp, and that it was kind of uphill.
I tried to tell her, folks. I'm like, hey, I think it's a little further than you think it is. I don't think it's right up that road. And she's like, no, it's right up the road. I'm like, okay, we're going. And yeah, we get up that road and it wasn't there. I'm like,
just a little further.
Yeah, like halfway. But it was really humid too. It's like really humid that night. I was like, wow, it was really hard to breathe, and climbing up like that little hill up to it did not sound very fun. So luckily that's when she had that epic fall.
Yeah. But we were so close to the trailhead by the time we turned around. Because the next day when we, that board that was up that we were looking at.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Right there. It was just right around the corner. Oh. And I was like, we were so close. But it felt like, it was going on forever, and I was so lost and turned around in that park because it has a lot of little loops and turns in there.
Yeah, it sure does.
Do not listen to me. If I tell you I know where I'm going, because I did not. I for sure did not. The next night we drove to the trailhead. Mm-hmm. So it was much better.
That was nice. That was nice.
How far was it from the camps to the trailhead?
Forever if you're walking. Tell you that.
It took a while, huh?
Yeah, it seemed like it, but no, it's only like not very far, really. Like a few hundred yards, maybe. 100 yards.
How late was everybody staying up in the camps? Like, I mean, partying, raising cane?
I think the curfew, I think, is what, 9, 10 o'clock, where you got to like, hey, settle down now, settle down.
Oh, that's
cool. We blew that.
30 every night.
We blew that.
This one particular, what do they call rangers? No, they're not called wardens. What do they call your guys's?
Game wardens?
The park people.
The part, 10:30 they would come and want $11 from Thomas to stay, but Thomas would say, "Well, I'm going," you know,
with my $11, so I can buy 1 gallon of gas.
No shit, huh?
Yeah.
No shit.
Wow. He didn't have far to go. I mean, he had to go all the way back to Mission, and that's quite a ride. So it was a ride from the.
Oh, you got to nap in.
You got to plan well over there. You'll go broke buying gas.
Well, to the Rangers' credit, when he first came up, we just finished eating dinner and said, "How long?" You said, "Oh, I'll be leaving right after we eat." And next thing you know, it's almost midnight.
Yeah, but we had.
He comes around again. Oh, I'm just leaving.
But we had an empty site that Nikki had paid for.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, he was bitching about that. And then the last night, they parked somebody else in her campsite. So it was like
work off of it because we didn't put like an empty tent or anything over there to hold the spot. So they assumed it was vacated and that we had already all left. So Saturday night, Bill couldn't use that spot to park. So it was Bill and Thomas that were parked right where, you know, our place was. So, but there was nothing I could do. Even though I was there, you need to set up a tent. You know, you need to show that you're there at that place. I didn't know that, of course. We would have put some shit over there, you know, to make it look like people were there.
Right.
Hey, there was still 2 security lights attached to that picnic table. I left them there.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even go back up there after you guys left, so I don't know.
So you could have said, there they are. That they were holding with those lights.
Yeah. Oh man.
Which, by the way, these are like magnetic ball lights that you can just hang or whatever on a tree or whatever. And I used them for the first time the other weekend when we were out with Jen. When you walk by one of those in the pitch black, it scares the crap out of you too, just like a plastic bag.
Popping on.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Friday night we ended up. Is it Friday night or Thursday? No, Thursday night I made chicken fried rice and chicken garlic soy chicken and egg rolls. Yummy. And a lot, man. What I bought, I made it all. So I think we ate off of that for like 2 days. That chicken fried rice. And then the second night, we made. Michael rotisseried his famous meat. What's it called?
I can't remember. It's one of the best things I ever tasted.
Michael, what's the name of the meat again? I can never remember the name, but he rotisseried that like Brazilian style, you know, and where are those pictures? I don't exactly know where I have those pictures at. What did I take them with? Let me see. It wasn't with that. Because I showed you all the DSLR photos. Anyway, they were beautiful pictures. He was slicing off meat, and then I made a big pot of charro beans, like borracho beans. They have like all kinds of bacon and onions and
You have to send me the recipe, by the way.
Yeah, and it came out so good. So we were eating good on that second night, and of course, a lot of food got left. But so it was good.
After everyone left the campground, Nikki was supposed to spend 3 days at my place, but she could only stand one.
Thomas, it was hot. It was hot in your place.
It was so
It
horrified
was
of
so
my bad
freaking hot.
housekeeping that
It
That
was
damn
hot.
Krakatoa-
You were a smoker.
That damn Krakatoa just would not stop erupting.
Oh my goodness. No, I stayed the one night. It was awesome. Just going through, files and going through all his goodies over there, his pictures, and just amazing. That was totally amazing. And so thankful that you allowed me to do that and to actually read some of Renee Hinden's correspondence. And that was really...
That must have been really cool.
And I only read through a couple of them. There was a stack. I show a folder of all his correspondence, and quite a lot.
amazing the way Rene wrote, the way he spoke.
Yes, exactly. Oh shoot! Ooh, almost lost the whole feed here.
And that's
So-
where we need to get on Thomas to put these letters in some books, because a lot of these letters are around some of the more famous events that have happened in relation to the Four Horsemen, and it would be great for him to do a book where it's talking about, say, the Cripple Creek incident, where the different letters are going back and forth behind the scenes. He can really bring stuff out for people, and he's got to get on that. So bug the hell out of him to get another book out there.
At the bottom of one of Thomas's shelves is an entire book he hasn't published. It's just a stack of a book ready to be published. He hasn't published it. It's just
Someone
sitting
called
there.
Doug Highcheck. We need to get this made. Get this done. Seriously. Doug owns Hanger One, doesn't he?
Hanger One Publishing, yeah.
Yep. It's called Doug Up. Doug, you watching? Doug.
There's the
Sasquatch
meat.
Secrets to Doug.
Oh yeah, that's
Come
the
in,
stuff.
Doug.
Oh, that was good.
Boy, that does look good.
Sure does. Damn.
Man,
My plate.
I know. Oh, wowzer, Bowsers. Woo. Some pretty good vittles right there.
Oh, to answer Content Ninja's 1985 question, Thomas, are you still friends with Bill Miller? Sorry to inform you, Bill Miller passed away on October of 2020.
These were at Rainbow Falls, and that's at the campsite
That's cool.
in Harrison Hot Springs.
Cool pictures.
Oh, we got to go to Rocco's. We went to Rocco's like twice.
Sweet.
That was fun.
So for the younger viewers, Rocco's is where they do that, or did that, to series Riverdale. That's where Pops' Diner was taken from, was Rocco's.
Oh, isn't that something?
Somebody stole the sign. Maybe.
I don't know where that is from. I don't know where that's from.
Things falling around on the road. Got to get them out of the way somehow.
Those are just more files.
That's
Wow.
in British Columbia.
That was all photos right there. That whole link right there was nothing but photos, Trek photos.
Wow. Great job, Thomas.
That was all his correspondence by last name, by
Isn't
people
that something?
who sent him letters. He would
Binder
file
number
them. Binder number 1. There was a bunch, but I grabbed this one because, of course, it has the Hinden and Green on this one.
That's back in the days when we actually used to have snail mail. You know, you had to write letters to talk to people or dial them up and pay outrageous long distance. Yeah.
He had old newspapers and articles.
Mm-hmm. Somebody needs to buy you a nice Xerox printing machine so you can scan everything that you have and then get it loaded up in a couple safe areas like, Google Drive, but maybe an external hard drive that you can keep yourself in a fireproof safe. Because God forbid you ever had a fire, it would be all gone, Thomas.
Thomas needs to be beaten because he has a whole pile of slides, and I lent him a slide copier a number of years ago that he could convert his slides to JPEG.
Mhm.
I've offered to lend him scanner numerous occasions, and again, he's an old school guy, and I'm embarrassing you on purpose, Thomas, because as we've said, you need to preserve this stuff so if something does happen, it is saved. And luckily, I have a lot of his, or most of his digital stuff I have a copy of, but you are right, his physical, the physical copies he has really needs to be preserved. And
Hey, Thomas, I have an extra scanner that next time I'm up there, I'm hoping next month, I'll bring it and you can just have it. And so at your leisure, it's a good project if you're bored one night and just want to start scanning stuff, get addicted to it, so I'll bring that up and, we can hook it up and get you all set for it.
Another
'Cause I
thing you can
agree.
do. Another thing you can do is you could make it interactive down at the museum. And, maybe try and get, like when you was there, everybody was flocking to you.
Yeah.
Maybe, see if maybe, kids would want to help preserve for the next generation, just volunteer or,
Yeah.
well, that's
Not a bad
our
idea.
long-term goal is to get a Thomas museum. Whether that'll happen in the next few years, but that there is a small group of us that Thomas has made provisions that his stuff will not disappear like Rennie DeHinnens did.
Mhm.
And I know I'm speaking for Thomas here, and he's can do it for himself, but that's our long-term goal is to try to get a Thomas Steenberg museum.
That'd be
Because
really
not only
cool.
does he have a lot of stuff, there are other researchers that we know of that would gladly donate to a museum to help him out with material there.
Yeah, that would be wicked cool. That would be a hit for sure.
But we need to get a hold of Doug Hycheck for sure. Nikki, you're friends with him. You're on his show. Right? Be like, hey, got this idea. I'll email him. I'll message him. I need to message him back about my e-bike. So.
Yeah, I've heard from Doug Hycheck. I've heard from Todd Prescott. And,
Yeah, Todd had a pretty good little system with all of that. He'd be a great guy to work with too.
He's got a whole display case of footprints in his kitchen.
No, the kitchen is in the display case room.
Thomas has a team. Thomas has a team here that could do this stuff. The roadblock, and yes, again, Thomas, I'm throwing you under the bus here because I think it's for your own good. Is he has a team here that's been willing to do this to help him do this, and we just all have to put pressure on him because, again, I don't think Thomas realizes the treasure trove that he really has.
Well, he's one of the big bridges that, gaps the generations of Bigfoot. I mean, he's the one there that knew everybody involved and all the information collected over the last, 40 years or so. I mean, it's priceless. And to have it organized in the way that you do, I don't think is really, other than like John Green or so, as really, people have had that opportunity. I'm sure you got a lot of good stuff in there, like a lot that.
Oh,
I agree with Bill.
Brett,
We'll do something. The Bookwatch crew guys have been plotting my death now for 10 years.
Brett, when you
got
come
me
up,
so you
you
weigh in.
will
Look,
be
I
in
got
your-
it.
They're hinting on. There's
Well,
not much time left. Hurry up. Make you feel so good.
No, seriously, it is one of the things. Again, it's because of Thomas's humility. You know, he's humble. He's a very humble guy, and I don't think he realizes, you know, how important he is. At least, especially on the west, on the West Coast here, his knowledge of the history of Sasquatch on the West Coast is second to none. And as you said, Brent, he really is one of the few bridges. I mean, there's, Daniel Perez, who's a little bit after him. There's, Todd Prescott, and maybe one or two others at least out here that have that bridge to the Four Horsemen in the early days. And I honestly think sometimes he doesn't give himself enough credit for what he actually has out there and what it means to the community at large.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, even knowing the Paul Freeman stuff, and yeah, we're gonna work on getting that done, Thomas. It's gonna be teamwork, man. Teamwork.
When you coming back up here, Brent?
I'm probably now looking towards the end of August. I'll have to get with you on some dates, but this one will probably just be a 3-dayer. And because man, you're like right over the border, really, you guys. Yeah. So I'm excited now. I got my enhanced driver's license. They'll let me in Canada. And which is like, I'm like, damn. I was like, but no, it was yeah, it's great how short it is, and it's literally like 3 hours, 3-hour drive. Hopefully my car doesn't break down again.
Yeah. Would you like to spend a part of that day going to Golden Ears Park to see the Randy Brisson stump?
Oh, the way to a man's heart.
Yeah.
You do. I want to get that replica picture of my head right there. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
That would be awesome.
I'm gonna send it to Randy. I'm like, okay, buddy, what's up?
Oh, I want to see the comments on that one.
Yeah. Ooh,
yeah.
Lit up.
Is this photo? Sorry, grass. Had to do it. I had to put up these photos.
Right on.
Oh yeah, that's when we took them up to the high observation point you're at there, Nikki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's John Kirk, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's Graz.
At the end, I think.
And I can't see who's at the end.
Is that Brad?
Too far away.
Yeah, I think that's Brad at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, Graz himself, man, he's quite the legend. We went to his encounter site, Nikki and Thomas and myself, and that was a lot of fun. It's a good encounter area.
See, that's
found the cone. We found the cone, folks.
Oh, that's a nice picture too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that is.
Wow, that's quite the lookout.
Yep.
Now it's all over. The tree.
Yeah, that
left
was a different time of year, really so all the leaves were gone. But you can see Long Island there, and if it's just off the picture, but you can see a little bit more to the left. You'd see Big Bald Head Mountain, which is where the thing was I saw in 2004.
In the documentary, Bill Miller talked about Bigfoot Reflections, the documentary. Bill Miller talked from a lookout similar to that, and said, "You look at all the bush out there and how vast it is. You could hide dinosaurs in there and people wouldn't find it." And again, I don't believe Sasquatch exists, but when you look into that, into that area of forest that basically goes from here right across the northern continent to the other side, I mean, there could be something there, all right.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's why I really like the North Cascades, because it's like right up, easy access to freedom, really, of not much human settlements out there.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would call that easy.
Yeah, true.
Especially not in a large truck. It's
Easier.
one. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have watching how you were driving slalom style back in there, and I couldn't miss anything in that monster truck. I mean, that thing was killing me.
Yeah, man, you'll get the Cascade stripes. I already got the Cascade stripes and I already know where all the potholes are. But yeah, man, you get those Cascade stripes once you go out to the North Cascades there. Gotta watch out.
Well, when I got the truck, they told me go out and video it or whatever, and if there's anything wrong with the truck, and I'm like, what in the hell happened to this truck? Because, I mean, it was just pinstripe down the side. I'm like, what the hell happened to this truck?
Took it through.
And you're like, I don't know.
Well, then afterwards, I found out. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she probably should have warned you about that one. It got really overgrown out there.
Well, it was amazing. The whole trip ended up working out for everybody. And I want to go to Whitehall. I know it's a one-day event, but I'm going to, as soon as August comes, I'll start making plans and see what I can do. So what I'm going to say is that if I do that, I want to go for a week and possibly spend time with you, Jonathan. Or
Absolutely.
maybe we can figure something out. Something.
That would be great.
Well, you might be, there might be a group of people planning on doing a whole week's worth of events. So, and you'll be more than welcome.
Well, that's what I'm gonna try to strive for to do. So at this point, I just don't know. I'm contemplating driving though. So I know it would take me like 3 days for me to drive.
From Texas?
Drive at night.
Long drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long drive, but
Yeah.
it sucks when you don't have your crap with you.
Right.
And you're dependent on somebody else. But I don't know. So we'll see. That's something for us to discuss later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, if I get sponsored with a tent and cot and stuff like that, we'll see.
And just to explain something to Grasshopper in the chat, and Brent sort of exposed part of the reason I failed to find the Sasquatch in the last 45 years. That marker where the incident happened in 2017 at the entrance to the park there, Grasshopper, I went out a week before the Shindig. I went out to try to find it because John Kirk mentioned that he thought that the stake with the cone was no longer there. So I went and looked for it. And I said, well, he's right. It's gone. It's gone. But I knew roughly where it was. So I strung reflective tape up in sort of like a big X in between a couple of trees. So I wanted to show these guys where it happened. And Brent and I went up there, and sure enough, there was my X with the tape. I said, we had a stake here marking where the Sasquatch was, but it's gone. He said, oh, you mean that one? And I looked 30 feet from where 30 feet from where I put that tape up. There's the stake with the cone.
Well, it was angles too. If you look at it, it was actually angled behind a tree. That's why you couldn't really see it.
And the cone isn't orange anymore. It's
white.
I got to replace that. But I looked all around and I didn't see it.
Well, it blends in really well.
Put it down and then put it back up or something. But no wonder I haven't been able to find it.
It's all about the angles, man. You just got to get the right angles. Bigfoot's been out there, man. He's been really close. You just got to step right 2 feet.
Right by that orange X, I go, this is roughly where it was. And there was a stake with a cone in it that's gone now. And he said, you mean that one? And I looked behind me, there it is. No farther away from me than my back wall. And I remember the day I put
right
that
tape
up, I looked all over the place for that thing, right around that area, and I didn't see it.
You better get those files archived.
God. But
slipping.
you'd be happy to know the steak is still there. And when I find another orange cone, I'm going to go replace it with a new one. But
Well, it took me forever to find your new X that you put up there. Like, I mean, it took me forever. Like, 'cause stuff blends in back there really well.
as I
You know,
recall, I'm the one to point that out too. There it is, right there. The tape with the.
I know. I'm like, where? I even made a video about it. It's like, I even had to condense that down because I didn't want to seem like such a dumbass. I couldn't find it.
This big sob story of how we had this steak with a cone on it for years, but now it's gone. He goes, "You mean that one?" There it is.
That's fine. I just saw it too. You can even see him on the camera. It's like I pan up to the cone there, and I'm like, huh? And then I pan down to your X thing, and then that's when you spoke up about the whole cone being missing and stuff. I'm like, oh no, actually, it's right there.
It's right there. Oh, I could have spit and hit it.
Good stuff.
But again, you know, it's all about angles. There was clusters of trees there, so easily missed when you're right there where they were, or where the new X is.
Yeah, but again, the cone was completely faded. It's still there, but it's not orange in any way anymore. It's white. It sort of blends in with the bark on the trees, so it blends right in with it. So I'm going to replace that. Now I know where to look.
Well, I'm going to ask Jonathan, was there anything you'd like to add before we bring this to an end? Because we're at 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I would like to, you know.
Oh, look what I got. This.
Who you got?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's Got Knockers or your Sasquatch Shindig
it's
Club.
Yep.
Very good. Very
Everybody
good.
signed it. That was there.
I'll be glad
Actually,
when I get to sign it.
Brent won this, but
Did ya?
give it to
Oh
me.
yeah, I'll give it to you.
Very
If you go to Whitehall, take that with you.
Yeah.
Remember, I had a little
Yeah, right
adventure on the last day taking Nikki down to the Bellingham airport.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Tell them what happened.
All the way, dropped her off, said our goodbyes, took our last picture, started coming back, got halfway back. And I think I was just going into the third runabout, and something in me just told me to check my pocket to look up, make sure I had my passport. And I'm looking at the back of the passport. I said, "There's no. What's that sticker doing on the back? There's no spec. United States of America."
Oh no! You
So
guys
she had
swapped
my
passports.
She had my passport. I had hers. I think, well, they're going to give me a hard time. I try to go back through the border.
Sure, this does not look like you.
Nikki, you can't.
We're gonna have to have you pull over now.
Nikki made me in trouble. She tries to use my passport to board the plane. I better head back real fast.
In your defense, it was Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so much shit happened during this shindig. Like Bill had said earlier, it was almost cursed. With
It all came together though.
It did almost, but I'm sitting there. Good thing it was early before my flight, before I went through security. So I was sitting on the outside still, and all of a sudden I hear my name. I'm like, here comes Thomas.
Guys, I got to say my goodbyes because I'm down to 5% power here.
Yeah.
All right, Bill. Well,
Okay,
have a
yeah.
good evening.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Talk to you
Thanks
later.
for-
Get my email off of Jonathan, Brent.
Yes.
Oh no, I
you
got
got
your.
it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got your email today. I just haven't had an opportunity to respond.
Yeah.
I got you.
Give us a couple of squeaky toy squeaks before you go there, Track.
Yep.
Deb went and got her a bone, so she's been quiet. Wait a minute, there's a hedgehog.
Yay.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. Is there anything anybody else would like to say?
I would just like to say that we are planning a camp out at RSA2, which is the area that I research most frequently over here in the Adirondacks. It's on the east side, on the west side of Lake George. So Whitehall is on the west side of Lake George, about 40 minutes away. So on September 25th, which is a Wednesday, we're going to be gathering up there, a bunch of us, Trackway and Jen and Trackway's wife, and I think There's a possibility that Brian and Chewy may be coming over, possibly Mike and Tack. I had sent the details in Messenger, and I want to extend the invite to the Sasquatch Shindig crew. If you guys would like to come over, there's plenty of room to camp. September 25th through to Friday the 27th. And then everybody will probably be packing up. Welcome to stay through the whole weekend, absolutely. Headed over to the Whitehall Sasquatch Festival on Saturday. And I do believe that Jen, Trackway, and Deb and some of them folks are going to be headed over to Joe Snyder's area afterwards. I believe I'm correct in saying that. So we could work out the details. Would love to have you over. I'm excited to have everybody up there. I have been looking forward to this and would love to have you.
Cool. Sounds like something I'm gonna try to make happen.
And the most important thing has already been laid on, and that's the porta pot.
Yeah, we got a porta john being delivered. So via the shit in style.
All right. I'm down to 3%. So y'all be good. Be good to your best self. Have fun.
Later.
See you later, man.
Robert Denduven. Hey, I got your package. It's ready to go. I had to go get a bubble envelope. So it's here. I'm going to send that out for you tomorrow. He was the winner of the extra pin I bought over at the Harrison Hot Springs Museum. So I'll be sending that out tomorrow. Just so you know. 2,400 miles from Whitehall to El Paso.
That's quite a track.
I would ship it. I would ship it FedEx of like a box of stuff that you want. Fix it. Ship it to like Jonathan or somebody over there, and they'll already be there waiting for it.
Deliver stuff over here all the time for our payroll, so they know our place well.
Yes, and then fly over and save you a lot of time and hassle and money.
Yeah. I really don't need that much stuff, you know.
I can get you rented a vehicle over here in a snap. So I mean,
side trips. What I mean is, if I decide to stop at certain locations on the way,
gotcha.
Then I've got some thinking to do about that if I'm ready to do something like that on my own. So
I can drive my Chevy if you want to drive my Bronco. I mean, you can use that while you're over here and have your own personal vehicle. You don't even have to rent anything. You can take the Bronco. I'll drive my work truck, my Chevy.
Thanks.
And you wouldn't have to pay for that.
Yes, stuff like that. If I fly over there, do I go with Jen and just hang out with Jen the whole time and just to be with Jen because I want to be with Jen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or do I drive myself? Huh?
I just wanted to ask, are you off probation for all the money you spent up here?
Yeah, I got away with it. Can you believe it? I got away. But ironically, I was just getting home and he was leaving for Germany. So I was like, I hope there's money there for you. Yeah, it seems like everything worked out fine.
Give him his lunch bucket with some ramen noodles. You might need this.
I'm sure he's fine because he showed me a picture of his trunk on his way back. They brought back a bunch of German beer.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, how did you go across with all that crap? And
wow, nice.
I'm like, oh, I guess, yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
Good to hear.
So it all worked out. But gentlemen, thank you. I know it's
thank you
over time. So thanks again, everybody out there. Thanks for coming and listening in and being a part of tonight. We had a lot of fun, and this is just the beginning. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. I have a feeling we'll keep on showing you what we got. Brent and Trackway have a lot of videos to put out, I'm sure, coming up soon. Yep. So I've already started seeing stuff from Jonathan. So
I've got another one for featuring Trackway. It's just about done. Might even launch it later tonight if I can stay up late enough.
Nice. So you guys have a lot of stuff to look forward to. Again, thank you guys for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, share this around, and appreciate you guys. And I will see you. Oh, gentlemen, don't leave when I put you the back. Okay, so bye, guys.